Hey, Lori. Hi. These two cases, can you tell me how much is left on each one?
Your Honor, I hate to jump in, but if you're looking for Mr. West, I know he's a blank screen there. He's actually in my office under the R Vance. So I don't want.
Okay. All right. I think we probably have everybody and we can go ahead and get started.
Hey, Lori. Hi. These two cases.
500.
I'm gonna-
Your Honor, I hate to jump in, but if you're looking for Mr. West, I know he's a blank screen there. He's actually in my office under the R Vance. So
Yeah.
I don't want.
Okay. All right. I think we probably have everybody. There we go. I think we got everything going now. All right. This is cause number 007-1294-14, the state of Texas versus Cecil Moore. We're here on the defendant's motion to recuse Judge Russell. Are the parties ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. I need to, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Okay. Your Honor, I filed a motion for continuance based on my condition. I know that Mr. Files filed a response to my motion for continuance, and I in effect also filed a response to Mr. Files' response to Mr. Platt's motion for continuance. Has the court had an opportunity to see my response to Mr. Files?
No, I have not. When did you file it?
It was filed yesterday, and I emailed a copy of that to Ms. Shepherd to provide to you so there wouldn't be delay in getting it to you.
Hold on. I want to see if who's in his office.
All right, you may present your motion.
Your Honor, as the court can take judicial notice of the file, and the court is aware that I have filed medical information in the case that I am recovering from COVID. I tested positive for this July 30th. And again, I believe it was on August 11th. And I finally got a negative test. I think it was around the 17th. And I've been dealing with a multitude of medical issues due to this that have made working very difficult. I'm trying to do the best I can with this condition to do the work that I can do. However, this condition is interfering with a lot of things. You know, I did a plea hearing yesterday. It was not a complex hearing. It was a case that it was on its third setting, and only took a matter of minutes, and all I had to do is sit there and go through the paperwork. What we have here today is a very complex case, and I've been dealing with some brain fog and fatigue and different issues that could interfere with me effectively representing my client at this time in this particular case. Just because I have appeared in court for, you know, a plea or status or something like that does not necessarily mean that I'm up to full speed, because I'm still symptomatic, dealing with problems from COVID. And I wish that I wasn't. This is not a fun process. And I'm ready to get through it, and I'm just doing the best I can, Your Honor. And we would ask you to grant my continuance so I can effectively represent Mr. Moore at a later time.
All right, response from the state first.
Yes, Your Honor. First of all, he did appear in court yesterday. In his motion for continuance, he also stated that he had time last week to Zoom with his client to discuss this matter. So he's apparently been working on it since at least last week. It's not as complex as he says. It's a motion to recuse. We've already been through it once in this case. He's raised essentially similar grounds, but there's nothing complex about it. If he could sit and do a Zoom hearing for a guilty plea, which I'm presuming he had to talk to his client on Zoom to get ready for the plea. He had talked to Mr. Moore last week. We're already a month late in our findings that we have to get to appeals on the actual remand motion that Judge Russell was ordered to make findings, and they were due on the 20th of August. And here we are in September 22nd. We're over a month overdue already. He's sitting there right now. Let's have the hearing.
All right, Mr. Files.
If it please the court, even if the court chooses to continue the balance of the hearing, we'd ask the court to go ahead and rule on our motion to quash. What Mr. Platten has done is filed precisely the same request for the court reporter and had her subpoenaed to produce documents that the court has earlier granted our motion to quash. There was no motion for reconsideration. There's nothing other than duplicating what has already been before the court and been ruled on by the court.
All right, Mr. Platten, your response?
Your Honor, I have had to stay in contact with Mr. Moore to apprise him of what's going on. The family has contacted me. He's wanted to speak with me. He wanted to view a piece of evidence in this case, a polygraph that I was able to set up a computer away from, directly in front of it to where he could watch a polygraph because he wanted to watch that. So I set that up for him. But I've been dealing with a lot of headaches, and we're dealing with a case here that is dealing with a lot of case law and a lot of different factors. And now Judge Russell did quash the last subpoena, but he never got to the heart of what was necessary in that. And that's something that I wanted to bring to this court's attention. And I would ask you to withhold quashing that until you heard more information if we do go forward on this motion to recuse and disqualify. Because there's information in there, an argument that I propose to the court first for you to take in consideration that is argument on case law and stuff, Your Honor. And the thing is I've been bombarded with all these cases and stuff, and I'm not working as good as I should be working, is what I'm trying to convey to the court.
Mr. Platten, I guess my concern is that first, it's a last minute, if you knew this was an issue, why didn't you file it Friday? Why didn't you file it last Thursday? Why did you wait till 1 o'clock the day before the hearing?
Your Honor, I've been trying to see what I could do, if possible, to get ready for this hearing because it's important. Mr. Moore is in jail. I want to do it. I've had a very difficult weekend. I thought I would be able to prepare for this. And I really have not been able to prepare due to issues that I've had from feeling sick. That's why I was holding off on filing it. Yesterday afternoon, it became an issue because my assistant had left her notary stamp at home. She had to return home to get her notary stamp and bring it over here to where I could notarize this. And that's why it didn't get too late in the afternoon. It would have been done sooner and possibly should have been done sooner, but I had the hopes that I'd be feeling better and would be able to handle this hearing. I'm trying to do as much work as I can, Your Honor. I don't want to put off these people. Like I told you in the case that Mr. Files brought to your attention, Michaela Williams, she's been set 3 times. and people are getting frustrated, and they want their stuff off pre-trial. They want to get going. And in a plea hearing where papers just had to be, sent over and go through the plea, it's not a complex matter. This is a complex matter. With that, Your Honor, we ask you to consider, I don't think the court is disputing that I have COVID or I'm recovering from COVID. And I wish that it wouldn't take this long. People say it's no worse than the flu. Well, for some that may be true. For me, it hasn't been. And I'm wanting to recover as fast as I can. And, it's difficult when you start dealing with the mental issues that COVID can cause, with the brain fog and having to restart the head to get to reading and the problems with light sensitivity and stuff. I'll even inform the court that I worked so hard while being sick with COVID. The day after I got COVID, I had to handle a bond hearing in the 114th District Court with my eyes swollen shut. You can ask Judge Kennedy about that. I had to wear sunglasses because my eyes hurt so bad. So I'm not just trying to put these things off. I'm trying to do what I can for my people.
Just one moment. Mr. Platt, when were you diagnosed with COVID?
July 30th, Your Honor.
July 30th.
I believe that was when it was. Yes.
And I have no doubt you were. I'm not disputing that at all. I guess my concern comes in is that after your diagnosis, yet we're able to file numerous motions in this case. We're able to appear in court yesterday. We're able to meet with your client on Friday. Why all of a sudden now can we not proceed on what may not be as complicated as you're saying? Because there's a lot of the stuff that was argued the first time, and this motion is very, very similar, except for one issue that is different that the court can address very quickly. I have a hard time understanding why we can't proceed today via Zoom.
Well, if we're going to be getting into, legal case law arguments and stuff, I may have a difficult time tracking some of these cases and putting this together. Like you said, this motion is not that much different than the first motion, is because it was pretty much 90% written and just had to be modified a little bit for today's hearing. And I'm just wanting to do my job and represent my client in an effective manner, Your Honor. This is a very serious situation. I don't enjoy even being in this position of filing motions to recuse and going down this path. I'm not enjoying this case. But for whatever reason, it comes to me like this, and I have issues with it, that I think that the court would want to consider to dive into the truth of what is going on.
Mr. West, has the Sixth Court of Appeals had any communication with the court due to the delay in this? Mr. West,
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't hear the question.
has the Sixth Court had any communication with any of the parties or the court due to the delay in the rulings?
As far as I know, there hasn't been any communication, Your Honor. If I might, just for a second, throw one additional factor into the mix. Mr. Platten has been alleging he's had COVID since July 31st is when he filed his first motion for continuance based on his health. And that Judge Russell granted that continuance, but that was filed on July 31st. So here we are 2 months later, and he's still claiming to be affected by COVID. And I know that there's a standard 2-week period where people have to remove themselves from public if they test positive, but he's been talking about COVID since July 31st.
If it pleases the court, Mr. Rance can speak to the issue, to a question that the court asked.
All right.
Good morning, Your Honor.
And this is not for testimony, but this is just so the court can have an idea of where we are. So that's why I'm not swearing her. I just want to know where we stand with the Sixth Court of Appeals.
My understanding is the Sixth Court ordered Judge Russell to hold a hearing regarding why Mr. Platten has refused to file a designation of record with me so that we can get this case up to the Court of Appeals. And we couldn't have the hearing because I believe he filed a motion for continuance. Mr. West will know this. Mr. Platten filed a motion for continuance, or he filed the motion to recuse, where we couldn't hold that hearing. So the Sixth Court abated the appeal so we could have this hearing on the motion to recuse. Mm-hmm.
And to address that, Your Honor, our request for what we want is on file with the district clerk. It's not as if it hasn't been there, and I'm unable to communicate with Ms. Lawrence because she's represented by counsel.
Your Honor, if I may address that,
We don't need to go into that. I just.
Is he done?
Your Honor, may I be excused for just one moment?
For what purpose?
I was going to go to the bathroom right behind me.
All right, if you, unless it's an emergency, Mr. Platten, please hold on. I'm trying to make this case. I'm trying to make some decisions here.
Yes, Judge.
All right, here's court's ruling. Well, I believe that Mr. Platten could probably proceed today. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm only going to continue this case until October the 5th at 10 a.m. by Zoom.
Your Honor, may we have one moment to check our calendar?
Give you that opportunity. Or if we need to, we can do it at 8:30 that morning, actually. That way it's before most courts begin.
What do we have, if anything?
I think we're okay. 8:30 is okay.
8:30 is fine with us, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. West, will that work for the state?
8:30 will be fine, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Platten?
That'll work, Your Honor.
All right. This will be the last continuance. I don't think this hearing should take very, very long. Court will be narrowing the issues. And so October the 5th at 8:30 a.m. We will resolve this case at that time or this issue. Nothing further. We are adjourned. I apologize for having to continue.
Yes, Judge.